Hello and welcome to a new TMP podcast, The Meeting Point. My name is Adrian. I'm from the coinref team, and today I'm delighted to have with us the VARA Network. How are you, Katie and Pavel?
Good, thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to
Hello,
be here.
Adrian.
That's
Thanks for
perfect.
inviting.
That's a pleasure always for us. So let's just start with the first question of this interview. The first question is imagine that you have you're writing an article for a newsletter or a newspaper, and you have to write the title for this newsletter or this newspaper. What would you say in a few words? What is VARA? Just in few words, like for example, a sentence. If you want, you can start, Kathy, for example.
Uh, Fastest and securest LAN 1 network, I would say something like that, or the best platform for building the apps.
Okay, perfect. Pavel.
Okay, she is the one that's reading the article, so I think it's your answer is the
I'm
best.
not
But
reading. I'm
I
not
would,
reading the articles. Maybe I
you're
have
right
a
in
better
that. Okay.
imagination.
Um, okay,
Uh,
I would say something like that. That it's the best solution for any application that we want to do on top of the blockchain. If you want to write programs and not just simple smart contracts.
Okay, now that you mentioned, Pavel, the word smart contract, let's focus on this word. For the people who don't understand what a smart contract means, can you explain to us what this strange word means, the smart contract, and how this can be applied to the real world?
Okay, the term smart contract actually appeared when Ethereum as a blockchain appeared. And the whole idea was that you can make some simple program that would allow you to be executed on top of the blockchain. And this simple program is actually called smart contract because, like a contract, if something happens, then this information, something else should be done. Meaning, if we have an agreement, we can put that in the contract, and when one of the parties fulfill the obligations, it will automatically send the reward or any other message to the second person. And this is something that's atomic and not mutable. So that's why what we are saying is, if you look at the 99% of the blockchains, the smart contracts, they actually use just smart contracts, atomic things that could be done just in a binary way. So what we enabled to bring into this space, thanks to the technology that we're using, like the atom model, the synchronous part of the messaging, we can give you an option to write a program that will be running on top of the blockchain, meaning they have much more logic inside of that than just simple things. And this, thanks to another thing that we're having, like delay message transactions and gas reservation, allows you to build complex solutions that are practically mimicking what we are used to do in the web. We can say like that.
That's perfect. Kathy, if you want to add something to to what is a smart contract?
No, I think Pavel here covered everything, so I will be glad to answer the next question, for example,
Yeah, for sure.
if you
So,
want me to, if it was your plan, you know.
no, 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 yeah, for sure. So the next question is about let's talk about the VARA use cases. No, we have seen different use cases, like for example, finance, gaming. That is a really interesting one. Um, NFTs, for example. Can you explain to us
Yeah,
different use cases and if you want an example? I don't know.
sure, sure. So, as you mentioned before, it can be any use case you can ever imagine. Like it can be decentralized finance, in go into gaming, and let's say it can go beyond. And for example, let's start with gaming. Like all of these online games we played before, which requires like step-by-step strategies. So with Vara, we are making it possible, like Pavel mentioned before, all of these things about the actor model and some of our key features we are having. They let us give a perfect environment for gamers because the transactions can be executed on parallel, and it allows like to do multiply actions at the same time. So it's a cool use case that VARA provides. Also, another advantage, I would say, for building use cases on VARA is that we are WASM based, and it allows to build like in different languages, not just on the Solidity one. And the use cases also, NFT markets, marketplaces. The NFTs, in our case, we can offer an opportunity to make a dynamic NFTs. It's like, I don't know if you're familiar with this term, but it's like the NFT can change its status, or I don't know, it can change. For example, some of the prices change and the NFT change regarding to the price, or it's a Tamagotchi and it's changed because of the weather or any conditions that can be taken from the internet. The NFT can change, like change its color, change its mood, or whatever. The developers can use it like that. Also, they can use it for supply chains. We have guys from Hackathon who were building the applications for the healthcare, so it can be like really a lot of use cases. It just depends on the imagination, really, but no limits here.
That's great. That's great. So you talk about hackathon. Can you explain us what the hackathon is, Pavel, if you want, and what is the objective of the hackathon?
Good question. Which hackathon exactly are you talking about? We had several hackathons running in different places. We had an online hackathon. We had a Mexican hackathon with universities. We had a hacker house in China. So it's like
that's
a
great,
lot
that's
of
great.
pieces moving around. So depends on what you want to talk. We can talk about that, and I can just maybe generic things.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the Mexican one, that I see some poster and it's I think that it was interesting.
Yeah, you're looking about the last one that just started in Tijuana that actually finished. It was 4 days hackathon that we had. We just did the technology. It was not organized by us. We had another hackathon like a month or 2 months ago that was organized by us with the biggest amount of universities there. But the one that we're talking about Tijuana was organized by another group. They were bringing people in border, like between the US and Mexico. So they also invited several students from that were working in San Diego University to hack on this hackathon. And the ending of this hackathon was actually in a place in the stadium of the football team there, and they had a special place for VIPs and recording there. It was quite nice and good. From us, we were a partner, a technological partner with them, so we put the technology and the education in order these people could be hacking and building different applications on top of VARA. And in this way, they can learn more technology, new things, new ideas, and build applications with the idea. The whole idea of these hackathons going around is actually to make the first steps to get people used to our technology. And once they cultivate this idea, they can do the next step, because we don't want to be the typical hackathon that finished and you forget about that, bye bye till the next hackathon, bring people to the next things. We're actually planning and we're working on this idea to generate an accelerator where people after the hackathon they generate an MVP of the idea. We can help them later on to build something bigger and already put that program on top of blockchain. And when they do it, they have the first proof of, let's say, of that's needed outside the community. We also want them to have to help to introduce that for marketing and other stuff. We want to make a demo day. We have several investors that are making us, and they're also looking into the ecosystem. So we want to present these projects to them, and in this way, give them the path of going from small idea that just tries between like 2-3 days to a big project that could sustain their lives and actually change their lives.
Yeah, that's a really amazing point. I have to say. So yeah, I'm going to focus now in gaming. If you want, Getty, in the gaming section of VARA, I let's talk about, we have the traditional gaming method, like for example, I don't know, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed. What this type of gaming difference from the VARA network? I don't know if you can answer this question, not in a technical way. but
I'm not sure about Call of Duty. Well, it's kind of it requires a lot of stuff, like shooting, and it's all at the same time. But like the strategic type of the games, like Heroes of Might and Magic, it could be applicable for VARA. Like no problem with that. But about Call of Duty, I don't know.
It
Maybe you
actually,
know something about that, if it's possible.
sure. It actually depends on what type of things you want to introduce. We need to understand that we have different streams of gaming that could be, of how the blockchain could be used in the gaming sector. First of all, it's obviously the what's called previously like gamified stuff, something like Axis Infinity. From my point of view, it's a more sophisticated way of staking, but the idea is the same. Then we have another stream that's actually totally on-chain games. That's something really interesting. When you don't have a backend, you just already all the actions are happening on chain. All the information is stored on chain. This will not allow you to have a really beautiful gameplay, but will allow you to have full transparency of what's happening. That could be going a lot, really good for things like card games, all this stuff. And then we have another type when we use blockchain. It's one part, or let's say down layer solution for normal games we call the Call of Duty. You have a lot of assets that you're having on Call of Duty that you can be collecting, that you can be gaining through all the types of games that you're doing. And all these assets, in a certain moment, can just be lost when the servers of this game will just shut down, or they will say, "I want to discontinue this game." And actually, all the effort that you put during all the time will be lost at the same moment. That happened in China, for example, with League of Legends. They actually played, they just shut down the servers, and they lost everything that they had there. They just freeze. So if we're using blockchain technology, in this case, VARA, for example, to put all these assets on top of that, and then that means that you can actually take these ones and move it into some other program. That could be another game. That could be, I don't know, a metaverse where you can build an avatar with that. It opens a lot of space on which you can actually start using and amplifying this total world of one game into the whole space of other programs, use cases, and scenarios.
about your data, or about your, for example, your personal skin or your personal weapon, I think that in VARA you can own your data, or own your NFTs, for example, using that blockchain technology. No, it's Pavel, if you can.
Yes, yeah, that's true. But even more, when we're talking about the same NFTs, let's say you're talking about pictures, and on VARA we cannot talk about pictures. We can talk about the program, the NFT. So meaning, what we're using now, we did an incentivized testnet of VARA, and we present one of, and actually with several games there, and all the games were totally on chain, and the NFT was something that was used as a logbook of all the activities that you were doing on top of the chain. So obviously we give you like a picture because everybody's used to that. But the beauty becomes that while it's totally on chain, you can be actually logging everything that's happening in real time after each one of the smart contracts is doing any activity. And this gives you the freedom of actually like logging everything that's happening on chain there without any other backend that would be using that.
Wow, that's
Transparency,
transparency.
sustainability.
Yeah, so self-custody. Yeah. So, talking now about building. Let's talk about, if I'm a normal user, a person who wants to start to build on VARA's network. How can I start building on the network? What the step I have to follow, or what doc I have to read? It's a substrate-based Solidity one. You can.
But
Okay,
do you know how to program? Like
Me no.
the most important. Yes. No, if you want to start building, you have to have like a basic knowledge of some programming languages, like as minimum. But we provide a lot of materials in our wiki. Like you can change, you can check, and it's just like there is a section there. Start. It's called Start Building, and it goes like step by step instructions how you can do that. Also, we have tons of examples our ready-made examples, which can be modified, and or you can just just run the code and try how it works. And also we have a Gear Academy. That's special course for the developers, which allows you to learn step by step how to deploy smart contracts on us. And we are doing workshops as well, so we are trying our best to educate everyone and show how easy it is to build on Vara. But
Great.
basic knowledge of programming, yes, is required, but you don't have to learn Solidity,
Yeah, it's substrate
Okay,
based, right?
yes, but let's put some things clear. Like, first of all, obviously, you have to learn, have a basic knowledge of programming, and able to learn another language. Our main smart contracts are written on Rust. So if you have a knowledge of C++, it's really easy for you to move into that language because it's like native to that. We also now work on a compilator that will allow you to actually read in assembly script that's quite similar to TypeScript and gives you the option of to Python. That will also give you this option to do it faster. But Magic, like we are not a no code program, just to be clear on this side. So you will not be able to know if you don't know any programming, just come and build something. At least you will just go through our wiki and take an example. You can go step by step to deploy contract. That will be easy for you. But the rest you have to learn it. So, in order to make this path smoother and easier for you, we developed this case we developed a Gear Academy where we're learning you step by step how to do it. It will be actually now working. We are working now on the third version of this academy because we understood that we need to simplify it even more. So it will be from one course, it will be three different courses or different lessons. We have some quizzes. You have to go step by step, going to know how to deploy a program, how it works, which is the main ideas of Rust program, how it's working, all this stuff. From one side, from another side, we are planning to prepare some educational videos on top of basic stuff. We are looking to have an alliance with one of the academies that teach you Rust, so that we can actually give you also some videos on Rust and how and the part of the Rust that's actually needed to work on us. We don't need you to be a programmer, really like good programmer, keeping no Rust. We need to understand the logic and then just work. And how we simplify also your life is because thanks to all the libraries that we put on top of that, you don't need to be learning how the blockchain really works inside. You don't need to learn how to manage memories of the programs and all the things. You just have to write plain programs like if you'd be doing it in any other way. So what you need to handle is the message you're sending to the program and what you're receiving back out. And this makes your path really easy. That's why you don't need to be like a really core Rust developer. Just need to learn it and just have fun coding stuff, testing it. There's obviously some logic that you have to think about, and we're trying to teach you about that logic because uh, it like we're talking about the blockchain of new generation, and this is what we're trying to give you.
Yeah, so making life easier. So
Yes, that's right. Too.
yeah, yeah. So later on I'm going to ask you about substrate, but now I'm going to focus on one word that Katie said, that is gear. Gear. Can you explain to us what's gear and why Katie mentioned this in the introduction? It's yeah.
Sorry, once more, I didn't understand the word that you're referring to.
Gear.
Gear,
Gear.
you mean?
Okay,
Gear. Yeah, gear. It's like yeah.
okay. Okay, we have a technical company, a technological company that actually developed the code, and we call it the Gear protocol because it's a protocol that can be easily deployed either as a standalone network like VARA, and the other one is like a parachain, either to SAM or to Polkadot. So as it's like a self-deployable system, that's why we call it protocol. And then the first implementation is actually VARA. We deployed a standalone network that allows you to have asynchronous messaging, allows you to have parallel computation, and allows you to have fast speed, a lot of implementation examples and things like that.
That's amazing. So it's like various powered by year, right? Or
Yes, we say it's powered by Gear, Gear, actually powered by Gear protocol, because let's say it's the core. Based on that core, you can actually go different sideways. You mentioned several times before substrate. Substrate is a framework to build blockchains in an easy and fast way. So instead of being working like 6 months or building a blockchain or a year, you can do it in a month or even in 2 weeks, depending on how sophisticated you want to be, just adding pallets to the main core. So what we built as a Git protocol is something similar to Substrate, because you can just but include already the palette of asynchronous messaging. So you can just go, and if you want to build your blockchain based on the actor model, you can just go, take it, deploy it, and it will be there. So this is how we think about that, and that's why the first deployment is actually in the way how you can do it directly as a standalone network. This is what we did.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great. So now let's talk about the VARA testnet. You have finalized this testnet and now you're going live. So let's talk about if you get any
We're
type
already
of
live.
feedback. Yeah, it's already live. Yeah, but if you get any type of feedback, any type of what are the vibes from the community about this testnet, and yeah, and you can also explain to us the live section, VARA going live.
So actually, the whole idea of the incentivized testnet was to bring, first of all, to help us to understand how our new paradigm of the Acron model asynchronous messaging will work together in different programs. Second, we want to do something different that other blockchains does. We don't want to do just staking or running a node. We already had that. We tested in a separate way. And so we focused this one on something unique, that we had deployed different programs and see what happens if a lot of people will start doing the same activity at the same time, how the network will actually work on the load. And in order to do that, we thought that let's do something that would be interesting to people. And we generated free on-chain games, so people can be start working, playing one game, swapping the tokens that we receive as the revenue for tokens that will have to give gas, go to the next game, play it once more, and all this around. And in this way, we had a lot of, and each time that you play this game, it's automatically calculated by another smart contract, send the message there, you put into the leaderboard all these positions, and all that allows us to have around like huge amount of messages running there. Just to give you an example, we ran, I think, the device is for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and we had 30,000 people, a little bit more than 30,000 people that actually joined it. We have more than 2 million transactions going there, and we have around, I think, 20 million or 4 million of messages going between programs. So if you check how many messages or transactions messages you have in real blockchains and other, it's like we're passing a lot of them. But it was like the logic that we built. So it helped us a lot of things. Obviously, we had some bugs. We understood some things like the RPC nodes, balancers, and all the things. It actually helped us a lot to modify things. And I think we will be running. It's something like, let's say, an immunified program that you can run on top of the community, and the community can help you, giving feedback, incentivizing you to build something even more interesting, and this way interact and get them more engaged. I think we will start running this type of programs more often already on the mainnet, especially when we'll be launching new applications, new partnerships, so that people can test it and we can get the feedback and the sense if everything's okay, what we need to add, where the lot will come, and all the things.
That's great. Katy, if you want to say something more about the this.
I was just wondering if you tried our incentivized testnet.
Actually,
If you have any feedback as well.
yeah, actually, yeah, actually, it's a tricky one because I personally don't have time. But yeah, I log into the no, don't worry. I log into the to the testnet, and I have yeah, I start my journey in VARA. I have to say that the login is smooth and everything goes well, but I can give more inside feedback with this because once I'm going to start to test the testnet, you launch the the mainnet. So yeah, I don't know, things that happen. So I have to try the
Oh,
the mainnet
The
and
minor.
everything was better. Yeah. So
Yeah, that sounds good.
yeah, but it's amazing, honestly. So and now going deeper with this, listening Pavel talking about this, yeah, you have built an amazing application, an amazing, an easy way to interact with smart contracts and with the code world, because a developer is always hard to be a developer to interact with the logical world of the coding, no? So it's great, and more
Yeah,
in
sure.
Rust or Substrate. So now let's jump into a more personal question. Question that from coinref we want to launch to you. It's what are the feelings or what are the feelings of working with VARA? Your daily life. What is this? What is this different experience from a current job? I don't know if you can. If you want to start, Kathy, and then let's go with Pavel.
Like what exactly do you mean? Like my ordinary life with Vara?
No,
Or
if it's different, what are the objective? What do you think it's great to see with VARA? Yeah, things like that.
if it's like approved my expectation is what you mean,
Yeah,
or
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know
no?
if you
Yeah,
want
I'm
to say
super.
your
No,
journey.
I'm super happy to be at the team, like, and working since the beginning. It's a really cool opportunity to grow, to learn always from the best, I think, and just just all I
Perfect.
can
Yeah,
say. I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah. So
that's great. And Pavel, that's
Okay, it's a good question, actually. It's an interesting one. We need to understand that it's something unique what we are doing, and it's something unique to be such a way on the top of the spear, because nobody actually passed the path that we are passing now. So obviously there was a lot of L1 that were launched, a lot of other blockchains to launch applications, but we are working in a way that we are combining new technology, bringing new technology to the market. So making like the first steps and introducing something unique to it that's not a copy paste of what was done in Ethereum. And actually answer the question that we previously asked for which applications VARA is best suitable for. Obviously, we as an L1 solution, we're open for everything, and we can bring new things to each one of the streams that you can think of. But we are focusing a lot on the game space. Why? Because to be freely and open to try to compete with Ethereum on DeFi space doesn't make sense. Even that we can give, for example, from DeFi space a totally on-chain order book and orders that would be on-chain. So meaning that bringing practically all the experience we can have as a centralized exchange into the decentralized world, still we don't have that liquidity. Until this liquidity comes, you have to build have to pass a lot of time. So that that's an option, but it's there. And for game space, you don't really need to have this lot of liquidity in the kernel system to develop, because the same game is bringing you these users and the ecosystem inside that will be actually later on interacting with other games and for the whole bigger ecosystem. So I think that one of the best focuses that we're having is actually on gaming and on metaverses, all this stuff that could be linked. We actually have one project, one of the hackathons from Mexico, from the university one, that's called Varaverse. Let's see how they will manage to do it. If that will work, it will be something interesting and unique in our space. But to be that on the top of the spear, to see the technology that is growing up, to see how people are changing their minds, to be on conferences, talk with the developers, and try to change the whole space and bring new opportunities to new people, especially when I go and do some workshops, see how their eyes are getting like the sparks in their eyes, and they understand that yes, there's future there. That could really, because now on the Web3 space, you can really like make this huge step, making like it's also called like social elevator, because you can start putting your effort here, and then after 6 months and a year, you can be living a totally new life.
wow.
And this is something unique. You cannot do it practically in other space for now, and this is where you can start doing it.
Wow, it's great to know, yeah, daily work life and of two persons that are all the day working for, yeah, for a unique ecosystem that it's Vara. And now I'm going to make a more spicy question that one of our listeners suggested for making to us. It's about the future plans. Where do you see Vara in, I don't know, 1, 2 years? Can you give us some spoiler? I think that I made this same question to Kathy in the week event. So let's try
Yes, you
this
did.
one, no? So let's try this one, no?
No, but the future is really depends on how the community decides, you know. So it can be go in different paths, and it really depends on our community.
Yeah,
So it's a question like, you know.
that's why it's a more spicy one. So Pavel, if you want to say something.
Sure. As the world is changing, and as I said, like we're like doing the first steps, or well, everything what's happening now, like in the blockchain world, 6 months is like 3 years in the normal world. So we don't know how this all this will evolve. For sure, we'll be focusing on scalability, on parallel computation, on working how this will be like stabilizing, adding more speed, making it faster, cheaper in a certain way. Uh, Trying to see how we can support, as a foundational standpoint of view, how we can support the whole ecosystem growth, how we can build more educated developers, how we can support these developers either with grants or with building this whole concept of bringing the funds to actually help them to grow their projects, to see their projects to move forward, share our knowledge and marketing experience there. Because when the projects that are building on us are growing, we are growing together. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to have a blockchain. You need to have final users that are using applications of that blockchain. And what we are building is a nice path for you to actually nurse these projects and grow them to big, solid companies working on top of the blockchain.
Wow, that's amazing. So now is the final trend of the interview. So if you want to say something to conclude this amazing interview, you can say it. Let's start with Kathy, for example, and then Pavel. So whatever you want. If you want to say follow Vara on social network, you can say it. I don't know.
No, I would like to invite the developers to try to build with us by participating in our online hackathon, which is called Varathon. And we would like to see like the different talents that can appear by participating in this amazing event. It's still gonna last 4 months, so there is a plenty of time for people to apply and try themselves, and really looking forward to it. And if also would like to add, if some of the community have some sort of proposals, let's see, like let's do an event together or let's do a workshop or whatever, they can always contact us. We are happy to assist. And yes, of course, follow us on the social media to be up to date, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Always, always. All the links will be displayed on the description of the video. So if you want, you can check it. And now,
Amazing.
Pavel.
Okay, first of all, guys, one important remark, and it's really important. Nobody of the teams will never DM you directly and ask for any funds or anything like that. First, if it's happening, it's a scam. Second important thing, we will add that on our webpage, but the VARA token, the network of the VARA network has token, it's utility to work by gas and all this stuff. It's called VARA. It's actually not on Ethereum chain or BNB chain, nothing like that. It's a specific chain that's on VARA network. It works on the substrate address only, and it's only tradable on Coinbase for now. So please, if somebody sends you a link that you can buy this VARA token somewhere else that's not Coinbase, it's mostly sure fraud. Just be careful about that. If you want to know which exchanges and when will be tradable, you can easily do it by following our social medias. You can go on Twitter and follow VARA Network, and you will see the announcements if the new exchange is going live. If that information is not on our Twitter or on our Telegram group, official Telegram group, that's a fraud. So just be careful about that. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not about price speculation. Just be careful, please, because we get several messages that I'm buying this, or like everyone's saying, like, look, it's impossible. Like, this is on the way. Nobody on the team is selling it apart. If you check our tokenomics, you will see that all the tokens of the team and actual investors are locked for a year. We cannot even stake them, do anything with that. It's like, so none of the team has the option to sell it, nothing to you, please. Second thing that's important. Social medias, if it's not on our Twitter, if it's not on our Telegram, if it's not on our Discord, that means it's not true. And as people are also trying to clone our, especially our Telegram accounts, please try to verify it once more on our Twitter, because mainly Twitter is just like all the information is correct. Okay. What else I can say to you guys? Just if you followed us, you will, not just for the developers, you will find a lot of new activities we're planning to arrange to the community. So I think we can have some fun and get some knowledge about VARA and about Gear, and let's see about the blockchain space also. So just follow us. Thanks for your time, and if you want to be with us, we'll be really happy.
That's great. That's great. So yeah, 90% of DMs are scams, no? So so yeah, thank you so much. Yes, you want. Yeah, so,
Yes, I want to say, like, just be careful with the scam. If you think that, if you even think that something means like scam, just come to our official channels and ask questions, and you'll get an answer.
So yeah, thanks so much, Pavel and Kitty, for being with us today. It was a pleasure to be your host, and I hope I'm up to your responses. And yeah, thank you so much also to our listeners to being with us today one more day with TMP Podcast. See you in another TMP Podcast the next week, or with a really interesting ways that we have. So thank you, Pavel and Katy, and to all the VARA Network teams to being with us today. Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you very
guys.
much.
Thanks a lot, everybody who listened to us for this time. And if the noise a little bit disturbed you, I'm really sorry. I'm just in the airport now, flying to another location. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Perfect.